This is Dr. Obadale Kamban coming at you live from Institute of African Studies, University of Ghana. And I wanted to read out a joint statement that was made by Abibitumi Kasa, Abibifahundia Disuyambia, and the Lion House African Cultural Center on the situation in Libya and the enslavement of black people in Libya. And in this statement that was issued for a march that was, or protest that was held in front of the Libyan embassy, we went into a little bit of the background and then also a little bit of context just to let Africans who are there know that Libya is not alone. And to some degree, it makes us as black people seem a little silly by talking only about Libya and leaving out all the other occupied territories that are occupied by Arabs, where they are also enslaving black people. So this is it. 5,600 years ago, the Tashwanat mummy was buried in the Akakas Mountains of what is now modern-day Libya, and the oldest instance of mummification in Africa, even before Kemet, so-called ancient Egypt. What is remarkable about this mummy is that this was a 2.5-year-old boy who was blacker than 1,000 midnights. However, the whitening of the area by Eurasians, so-called because Europe and Asia are one landmass, was already starting to take place, especially in the north of Libya. The Libyan palette, an archaeological stone palette from 5,100 years ago, depicts a conflict between those who call themselves Kemtiu, which means black people, and who are now intentionally misnamed ancient Egyptians, and the cities of Eurasian invaders in modern-day Libya. These Eurasian Libyan invaders had already invaded the northwestern delta of Kemet. 3,200 years ago, Merenptah wrote about his victory over the Eurasian invaders in Libya and how he was able to protect the land of black people. Just a few decades later, Ramesses III wrote about the Libyan foreigners who violate their boundaries since of old. What this means is that the Arab, Bedouin, and other Eurasian invaders who are now called Libyans, their usurping of the land of black people and their conflict with black people are not new events, nor are they limited to Libya. Sudan is ranked 6th alongside Libya, also 6th in the Enslavement Prevalence Index rank with 454,700 and 70,900 enslaved Africans respectively. Back in 2010, the situation in Sudan was documented in a biographical movie called I Am Slave, which documents the real-life story of Mende Nazer, who was kidnapped by a pro-government Arab militia and sold into enslavement. Mauritania is ranked 7th on the Global Slavery Index with over 43,000 held in slavery. Tunisia is ranked 15th with 85,000 enslaved. Morocco is ranked 18th with 219,700 enslaved. Egypt and Algeria are ranked 20th with 572,900 enslaved and 248,300 enslaved respectively. What we see is that there is a proliferation of African countries that are inhabited by Arabs who are enslaving black people. Further in southwestern Eurasia, so-called Middle East, places like Iraq, Yemen, Syria, and others are hubs where black people are enslaved because gone is Kemet and gone are the leaders and rulers who had the power to prevent this from happening. Even African countries without heavy Arab population, but with Arab religions like Islam and with white European religions like Christianity, follow the concocted Hamitic curse idea and follow suit with the continued and so-called divinely ordained enslavement of black people. But what we didn't see on the Libya video that made the rounds of social media recently were Arabs sold into enslavement in those auctions. They were missing, nowhere to be found. Even if we as black people do not know who our enemies are, that does not mean that they do not know who we are. When we see the U.S. backed NATO in a conflict with Gaddafi, we must understand that the conflict with one pale Eurasian and the other is simply over who will control the land of black people and its resources. When that land is not for any of them, that land now called Libya was originally inhabited by black people and still rightly belongs to black people. For no matter how long a log remains in the water, it can never become a crocodile. As black people, we have to come together and reclaim the land of black people, Africa, for black people. Only then will we see an end to the enslavement of black people by our white Eurasian enemies of the last 5,000 plus years. So this is again a joint statement by Abibitumi Kasa, Abibi Fahondia de Siambia, and the Lion House African Cultural Center. Medamasi.